Hello there, I'm Jayney Goddard, and a very warm welcome to this new session that we've got. Today I'm talking about love, sex and chocolate. Probably 99.9% of the population's favourite topics. Obviously, Valentine's Day has just gone past, and at that time, I suppose for many of us, our thoughts tend to turn to sort of love, relationships, and those sorts of topics. But there is a reason why I'm actually wanting to talk about those topics for you today, and that is the way that love, sex, relationships, and chocolate all sort of come together to kind of create an overall relationship, shall we say, that's incredibly beneficial to natural health and well-being. So stick with me on this because I've got some really great top tips for you as always, and of course they're always based in science. And if you like the channel, please subscribe to it because it does help other people to find it. Give the video a like and a good thumbs up. That's always really helpful as well. So the secret is that it's been proven that people with better relationships live longer and healthier lives as well, and also that a great sex life has amazing youth-giving and health enhancement properties. So let's look at relationships first of all. How do they actually contribute to living a longer, healthier, happier life? Well, first of all, let's look at some of the work of one of my most favorite scientists, Professor Ellen Langer. Now, she's an amazing scientist, and you may well have heard of her through her work that she's done on immersing people into environments when they considered themselves to be at their peak of health and wellness and vitality. In fact, what happened was that Ellen Langer supervised a BBC programme that was shown not so long ago called The Young Ones, and you can actually still find it on YouTube. It's where a group of elderly celebrities spent 2 weeks living in a house that had been converted to be a realistic 1970s environment, which for these elderly celebrities was the time that they felt they were absolutely at the peak of their powers. And they had, sort of enormous, these were household name celebrities. But of course, as they'd become older and they'd retired, they'd fallen into obscurity. But nevertheless, they were taken along and put in this wonderful house that was really absolutely so 1970s, from the shag pile carpet to the 70s psychedelic wallpaper to they would open the cupboards in the kitchen and see all these sort of Vesta curries. I don't know, we had those in the UK. I don't know if you had sort of ready meals like that in the States. I'm sure you probably did, and Australia and all of the other countries that I know tuning into this channel. But the point being was that even the news, they'd turn on the television and even the news coming out was 1970s news, same on the radio, and they had pictures of themselves around in their rooms and so on, of them performing at their peak. And so they were completely immersed. At that time, they reported that they felt young, fit, healthy and vibrant. Now, what they did, Ellen Langer and her colleagues, one of which was Dr. Michael Mosley, who's one of the BBC's top doctors, an amazing guy, they measured these celebrities' biological markers of age, such as their blood pressure, balance, cognitive function, flexibility, even their height. They were all measured at the beginning of the experiment. Now, here's the interesting thing. In just 2 weeks, the celebrities were re-measured at the end of their stay, and they had improved dramatically in all areas measured. It was very, very clear from the health reports that while they enjoyed being in the 1970s environment, they themselves felt that they benefited most from suddenly being involved in a stimulating peer group, a really good cohesive social group where they had to talk to each other, they had to help each other out. They were given no help when they moved into the house. If they couldn't lug their suitcase up the stairs, they had to figure out a way of getting their suitcase up the stairs. Nobody was stepping in. And there is a thought in the sort of the gerontology research field that there's a concept called learned helplessness, which is whereby as we get older, if people kindly try to do more for us, we then let them do more for us. It's a kind of learned helplessness. And the truth of the matter is that as we get older, we are actually capable of a lot more than people think we're actually capable of. So what's so interesting was that they found that blood pressure had normalized, blood sugar had normalized, body fat to muscle ratio had actually changed. They were even taller by the end of just 2 weeks, which is just extraordinary, possibly because they were I don't think they massively grew. I don't think that would have been possible in 2 weeks, but they were clearly standing up straighter. And this whole thing about us shrinking as we get older is not necessarily the case. It's actually, the fact is that we tend to kind of round our shoulders and slump, and our posture changes. And so, of course, we become actually measurably shorter. So the thing that was so intriguing, though, was the fact that the people themselves reported that they felt it was the socialization factor that really helped them. So socialization actually comes in many forms, from joining clubs to having good personal relationships, such as a good marriage or intimate relationships, participating in religious or spiritual activities, seeing friends and family. Obviously, we see now in lockdown, obviously I'm broadcasting this in lockdown, what we see at the moment is the fact that, you know, we're not seeing people, we're not having these social groups, and we're seeing the massive impact that this is making on mental and emotional health. I mean, the ramifications of lockdown are absolutely shocking. And so it's crucial that, you know, that we do find ways of interacting with people. There are various types of social interactions that thankfully we can still, to a certain extent, still do, even in a lockdown situation. Going to social dances. Now, obviously, we can't now currently in the UK go out and dance. I know other countries have different lockdown rules and so on, but getting out and dancing is a fantastic socialization skill that actually massively rewinds our biological age so that we become mentally, emotionally, physically younger. One of the reasons why social dancing is the primo anti-aging kind of activity that you can do is because you've got the socialization factor. Now, the interesting thing about socialization is that the research shows that socialization and working towards a common goal can actually rewind our biological age by up to 9 years. So it's been, the researchers feel that we can add another healthy, that's the important factor, healthy years to our health span, increasing our lifespan as well. But, you know, I've spoken about this at different times, health span versus lifespan and so on. So we can add, by socializing and working towards a common goal, we can add another 9 healthy years to our health span, which is certainly hugely important. The other thing about going out and dancing socially is that, of course, you've got the physical workout of the actual dancing, and then you've got the cognitive benefit of needing to learn steps and learning choreography and so on and so forth. So there's a lot to it. Now, the point is, if we can't go out and do it, what else can we do? Well, what I do is that I do dance classes online. And so for me, the kind of dance that I really, really love, because I'm physically capable of doing it, even with my rheumatoid arthritis, slight limitations, you know, I'm so much better, you know, than my doctors ever thought I would be. After they told me I'd never be able to walk again, so there is that small thing. I'm actually now back up and dancing, and I do belly dancing, which is tremendously good for us. For men and women, it's not just women that do belly dance. It's a long tradition of guys doing it as well. So don't turn your noses up and don't judge it before you try it. But it's fantastically good for us, mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually. And we do work towards a common goal in the groups that I'm in, and we do get dressed up and perform for each other. So we put on small performances and so on. We learn choreographies that our teacher then gets us to video, and then she puts it into a sort of a group montage. And because of that, you know, again, it gives us a target to work for. So these things are still possible, despite the fact that we can't actually necessarily get out and do this all together at the moment. The next thing that actually gives us tremendous bang for our buck as far as extending our lifespan and our health span is incorporated is volunteering. The research shows, confers enormous benefits for every measurable biological function. There appears to be something very special about helping others, which triggers enormous well-being in volunteers. Now, one of the next things we need to think about is what else can we do as far as activity is concerned for rewinding our body clocks. Well, let's talk about sex right now. Your lifespan and your health span will be increased through having more sex. One study has shown that men, for example, with a high frequency of orgasms showed a 50% reduction in mortality. Now, nobody actually knows quite why sex should be linked to life expectancy. It could be that maybe healthier people have more sex, and the research linking sex to life expectancy is reflecting this. However, as mentioned above, good relationships are linked to longer life expectancy. So it's entirely possible that sex helps to cultivate good, positive relationships and vice versa. And there's probably a direct health benefit associated with sex as well. Aside from the physical workout you get from crazy hot sex, it also triggers a flood of those feel-good chemicals, the endorphins, and a wide range of healthy hormones that stream through the body as a result of having, great sex. Whatever the actual underlying reason for the benefits of great sex, the simple fact of the matter is that sex is incredibly healthy and we should all indulge whenever possible. And I should say at this point, even if you don't have a partner, DIY is just great as well. If you're not with a partner, doing it yourself actually counts. It seems that the slew of positive, really life-enhancing neurotransmitters and hormones and so on that are produced simply by having sex, by having orgasms, has this tremendously age-rewinding effect. In fact, there was a research study that was undertaken that got students to look at couples who reported having good sex lives and couples who reported not having regular sex or a good sex life. And the couples who were reported as having good sex lives were perceived to be, on average, 10 years younger than the peers, the people in their peer groups, same age, age-matched groups, who were not having regular sex or a good, healthy sex life. So, sex is good, no matter what it is, how you do it, with whom you do it, or without anybody. Just get down, get down, get on it, and enjoy yourself and let your freak flag fly. So what about, finally, the thing I promised you at the top of this video was chocolate. Is it the healthiest aphrodisiac? Well, chocolate has been considered to be an aphrodisiac for millennia. The first evidence of chocolate use comes from Aztec writings. Now, aside from being obviously delicious and full of antioxidants, chocolate also contains a very, very beneficial compound called PEA, or phenethylamine for longer. It's a difficult word to say, so we say PEA when we're talking about it in the research because it's a lot easier to say. It's a central nervous system stimulant that is thought to help arouse emotions, particularly aphrodisiac feelings. But the trick is that you've got to eat chocolate that is 70% cacao content or higher. Raw chocolate is even better, and it's even more delicious, if you can believe it. It's very, very easy to make your own really super healthy chocolate at home. I'm going to make a chocolate video for you once I can get my camera set up in my teeny tiny minuscule kitchen and try and get some lights in there that I'm not going to trip over and kill myself, which would not be a good thing if I was making a chocolate video for you. You'd like to see the end result before I end up tripping over my lights. So let me try and do that for you in the not too distant future. As always, thank you for being with me. Please let me know if this is useful. Let me know if any of the suggestions are things that you're going to try. Without maybe going into too much detail, I don't need to know the literal ins and outs outs of your sex life. But, you know, let me know underneath in the comments if you found it useful. Also, are there any topics that you would like me to cover? I'm always happy to do so for you. And please, if you find this useful and you'd like the channel to benefit other people, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so that you never miss out on a new video coming up. And I really thank you for being with me. I'll see you soon. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.